What happens when you discover a secret that could tear a family apart? Suddenly, you're carrying this immense emotional weight. You feel caught in the middle, wanting to protect everyone, but you have no idea what your role is supposed to be. In this explainer, we're going to navigate those really complex emotions that come up when a loved one's crisis becomes a secret you have to keep, and we'll focus on finding a constructive and sane way forward. This entire explainer is actually grounded in a real anonymized post from someone who's right in the thick of this exact dilemma. And to really get a feel for the situation, I think it's best to just start with their own words. They wrote, "Hello, I'm looking for perspectives. My brother has a parallel relationship. His wife knows, she told me. They have small children at school. He is okay with the situation. She doesn't, but she can't or doesn't want to make the final decision. In my opinion, the children are relatively aware of what's happening. I live far away from them. My brother doesn't know that I know. It's logical not to interfere in adult relationships, they're grown-ups, but on the other hand, I'm worried about the children. I'm also worried about my sister-in-law. She has her own reasons for being indecisive, but everything that happens naturally affects her. In short, this is it. Do you have a similar experience? What would be the right approach? Thanks in advance." You can see right away just how delicate this situation is. It puts one person in these multiple conflicting roles all at the same time. You're a sibling to your brother, you're a confidant to your sister-in-law, and you're an aunt to the kids who are caught right in the middle. Of course, that's going to create a huge emotional conflict. Feeling torn and confused is a completely normal, completely valid response here. Now let's try to shift our perspective for just a moment. As tough as it is to watch this from the outside, the relationship between two spouses is, well, it's ultimately their own private world. From where we stand, we only ever see the tip of the iceberg, right? We don't see all the unspoken agreements, the complicated history, the deep-seated fears, all those intricate dynamics that have been built up over years and years. And that brings us to a really crucial way to reframe this. The fact that the wife knows and the husband knows that she knows, well, that means this isn't just a secret affair anymore. It's actually become an established system. Now, it's a painful system for sure, and it's probably deeply dysfunctional, but it's a system they are both, for their own complicated reasons, participating in right now. So, your first instinct might be to just jump in and confront your brother, but we have to pause and really think through the potential fallout here. Remember, he doesn't know that you know. A direct confrontation is almost guaranteed to make him defensive. It could seriously damage your relationship with him, maybe for good. And maybe most critically, it could put your sister-in-law, the very person who trusted you with this secret, in an even more difficult and isolated position. Okay, but of all the feelings swirling around, the worry for the children is probably the most powerful one. And that's natural. Kids are like emotional sponges. They absorb the atmosphere of a home even when not a single word is being said. So let's focus on what really matters for their well-being in all this. And here's a key insight from psychology that might be a little surprising. While an affair is definitely disruptive, what often causes the most lasting harm to kids is the emotional environment it creates day to day. Is there constant fighting? Is there a cold, heavy tension in the air all the time? A home that's filled with that kind of prolonged stress and humiliation is actually far more damaging than the existence of the affair itself. So this brings us to a really important point about where you can have the biggest positive impact. Your most valuable role here might not be trying to fix their parents' marriage. It might be to just be a stable, calm, loving presence in the children's lives. You can be the safe harbor, the one place they can go to get away from the drama. And sometimes that is the most protective and powerful thing you can possibly offer. Now let's turn to the person who brought you into this, your sister-in-law. By telling you, she showed an incredible amount of trust. But let's be honest, it also placed a really heavy weight on your shoulders. So the question is, how do you support her without taking on a burden that isn't actually yours to carry? Well, the most constructive support is the kind that empowers her. So first, just offer a non-judgmental listening ear. Let her know her feelings are valid. Second, you could gently encourage her to seek out a professional therapist, a space that is 100% for her and her alone. And third, be a sounding board, a space for her to think out loud. But, and this is key, you have to resist the urge to make the decision for her. That indecisiveness comes from a place of very real fears, and she has to be the one to find her way through them. And all of this circles right back to that central, agonizing question. Do you break your silence and talk to your brother? This is that crossroads moment, and it's where so many people in this situation get completely stuck. On the surface, the question seems pretty straightforward. You see something you believe is wrong, and you feel this pull, this responsibility to do something about it. But before acting on that impulse, we have to look one level deeper. And here it is. This is the truly critical question you have to ask yourself. Is your desire to intervene coming from a place of genuine care for the well-being of everyone involved, and that includes your brother? Or is it coming from a place of moral outrage, of judgment? Because the motivation behind your intervention is going to fundamentally shape your approach and, ultimately, its outcome. This brings us to the final and I think most empowering part of this whole discussion. It's about shifting your perspective away from that feeling of helplessness and toward a clear-eyed understanding of where your actual power lies. First, we have to accept what is simply outside of our control. You cannot stop his parallel relationship. You can't. You cannot force your sister-in-law to make a decision, and ultimately, you cannot determine the outcome of their marriage. Letting go of the need to control these things is really the first step toward finding some peace in all this. So if that's what you can't control, where is your power? It's right here. You have 100% control over the kind of aunt you choose to be for those kids. You have control over the kind of sister you are, and you absolutely can control your ability to offer support to everyone involved without judgment. This is where you can make a real, tangible, positive difference. I think this quote just nails it. It's a guiding principle for navigating this with integrity. It acknowledges your own values, I do not approve, without taking on the role of judge and jury, but I do not destroy. It defines your role as supportive while making it crystal clear that you are not taking ownership of a problem that isn't yours to solve. And so, I'll leave you with a final question to reflect on. If you ever find yourself in a situation like this, try to identify the deepest source of your anxiety. Is it really the moral issue? Is it the impact on the children? Or is it that profound, awful feeling of being powerless in the face of someone else's pain? Figuring out what truly worries you most is the key to defining the role you are actually meant to play.